You wake up in Atlantis, and the first thing you notice is that your room is way too nice for someone who probably has no idea what a toothbrush is. There's polished stone everywhere. The floor is cold. There's a little bowl of water next to your bed, because apparently in Atlantis, even waking up has to feel like a public fountain. Outside, people are already moving. Donkeys, carts, shouting, bells, probably one guy coughing like he invented disease. It is early morning, and the city's doing the things cities do best, which is being loud for no reason. You get up, stretch, and remember one small detail. You live on Atlantis. Not the shiny underwater version with glowing blue crystals and dolphins doing customer service. I mean the old version. A giant island civilization with rings of land and water, huge temples, rich people with too many opinions, and an alarming amount of confidence for a place that is supposed to eventually disappear. You are not a king. You are not a priest. You are not the guy holding the magic spear on a statue. You are just a regular person trying to get through Tuesday before the ocean gets ideas. The city is built in circles, which sounds fancy until you have to walk anywhere. Atlantis has big rings of water and land around the center, like someone saw a target and said yes, but make it a commute. Your home is somewhere in the outer part where normal people live. The central island is for important people. Very important people. People who look at a normal chair and think, this needs gold on it. You wash your face, or at least splash water at it and hope that counts. Then you get dressed in a simple tunic. It is not hero clothing. It is more like a rectangle that gave up and became fashion. Breakfast is waiting. Bread, olives, maybe fish, maybe fruit if the market people have not decided to charge rich person prices. Atlantis is supposed to be wealthy, but you are still not eating like a cartoon emperor. Most days you eat whatever does not require arguing for 20 minutes. Someone in the house is already complaining about canal taxes. Atlantis has canals everywhere. Big ones, little ones, important ones, muddy, annoying ones. They move boats through the city, bring goods in, and make rich people feel like they live inside an engineering achievement. They also smell weird sometimes. Nobody puts that part on the monument. You step outside, and there it is. Atlantis in the morning. The streets are busy. People carry baskets. Workers push carts. Fishermen yell about fish as if the fish personally insulted them. Children run around with the exact energy of tiny criminals. Ahead of you, the city rises toward the center, ring after ring, with bridges crossing the canals. Beyond that, the royal district sits like the entire island is pointing at it and saying, look, rich people. The biggest building is the temple. In the story, Atlantis has a massive temple to Poseidon and Cleito, which is a sign that everyone here takes mythology, architecture, and being expensive very seriously. The temple is covered with precious metals. Silver, gold, and something called orichalcum, which sounds like a metal and also like a word someone made up during a fever. If you live here, you probably do not ask. You just walk past it every day and pretend the giant shining temple is normal. Your job is down by the harbor, because Atlantis is a sea empire, and sea empires need a lot of people doing boring things near boats. Maybe you unload cargo. Maybe you keep records. Maybe you work in a shop making pottery, rope, tools, or little bronze objects that future archaeologists would stare at and label ritual item because nobody knows what it is. You cross a bridge over the first canal. Boats move underneath, carrying grain, timber, metal, jars of oil, and one mysterious basket covered with cloth that everyone wisely ignores. The canal traffic is organized, sort of. There are rules, probably. There are officials, definitely. But every city has that one boat guy who thinks rules are a suggestion for weaker people. He bumps the side of a grain boat. Everyone yells, a jar breaks, a goat gets involved. The goat is not helping. This is Atlantis at street level, not magical, not perfect, just extremely advanced people dealing with the same nonsense as everyone else, but with better stonework. On the way to work, you pass a market. It is huge, loud, and smells like fish, bread, smoke, and decisions you regret. Merchants shout over each other. One guy sells purple cloth like it personally gives you wisdom. A kid sells clay statues of Poseidon that look less like a god and more like an angry potato with a beard. You want one. You do not buy one. You are being financially responsible, which is a boring but necessary tragedy. At the harbor, the scale of Atlantis really hits you. Ships are everywhere. Cargo ships, fishing boats, and little boats that look like they were built by someone who was mostly guessing. Atlantis is not some quiet island waiting for the prophecy department. It trades. It builds. It probably has paperwork, which is how you know a civilization has become dangerous. Your supervisor is already angry. This man wakes up angry. He eats anger for breakfast. If the sun rose politely, he would complain about its work ethic. Today, a shipment of bronze ingots is late. The ship captain says the wind was bad. Your supervisor says the captain is bad. The captain says the dock weights are rigged. A dock worker says the captain's beard is rigged. Nobody is fixing the late shipment. You spend the next few hours counting goods and marking tablets or boards. The work is not a fantasy montage. It is inventory. It is arguments. It is being told to move a crate 3 feet to the left. Then someone else tells you the crate was better where it was. Around midday, the heat gets rude. Depending on your favorite Atlantis theory, you might be dealing with a warm coastal climate, sea breezes, bright sun, and rich people pretending sweat does not happen to them. You eat lunch in the shade. Bread again, fish again, olives again. Ancient people loved olives the way modern people love complaining online. They are everywhere. You want one. You do not buy one. You are being financially responsible, which is a boring but necessary tragedy. At the harbor, the scale of Atlantis really hits you. Ships are everywhere. Cargo ships, fishing boats, and little boats that look like they were built by someone who was mostly guessing. Atlantis is not some quiet island waiting for the prophecy department. It trades. It builds. It probably has paperwork, which is how you know a civilization has become dangerous. Your supervisor is already angry. This man wakes up angry. He eats anger for breakfast. If the sun rose politely, he would complain about its work ethic. Today, a shipment of bronze ingots is late. The ship captain says the wind was bad. Your supervisor says the captain is bad. It is not just cool island sinks. It is also about a society becoming too proud, too wealthy, too aggressive, and then getting flattened by divine punishment, natural disaster, or Plato's lecture voice. But you do not know you are in a moral lesson. You are just eating lunch. After lunch, you get sent to the inner district with a delivery. This is annoying because the closer you get to the center, the more everything looks expensive on purpose. The road gets cleaner. The houses get larger. The guards get more judgmental. You cross another canal, then another, moving inward through the rings. Each ring has walls, docks, storage areas, workshops, and homes. The whole place is like a giant machine built around water. And it works. Atlantis is not just big, it is organized. The canals connect the sea to the center. Ships move goods deep into the city. Walls protect each ring. Bridges control movement. It is like someone designed a capital city after staring at a wheel and getting carried away. You pass engineers arguing next to a drainage channel. Ancient engineers are terrifying because they do not have modern tools, but they still build things that last longer than your phone charger. One holds a measuring cord. Another points at a slope. A third is clearly pretending to understand. The drainage channel is clogged. This is the part people forget about grand civilizations. Somebody has to unclog the drain. Near the center, soldiers are training in a courtyard. Atlantis, in Plato's story, is a military power. It controls lands, builds fleets, and tries to conquer other people. The soldiers look impressive from far away. Up close, they are mostly young men sweating, dropping things, and being yelled at by older men who have weaponized disappointment. One recruit trips during a drill. Everyone pretends not to laugh. Nobody succeeds. You deliver your goods to a palace office where a clerk checks the seal 3 times, because if you give a clerk authority, they immediately become the guardian of all tiny details. The palace is huge. Stone columns, painted walls, courtyards, water channels, maybe gardens with imported plants, because wealthy people love proving they can make a tree travel. There are officials everywhere. Scribes, guards, servants, priests, messengers. Everyone looks busy. Some of them are busy. Some are doing the ancient version of pretending to check email. You catch a glimpse of a ceremony near the temple. Priests prepare an offering. The crowd gathers. There is incense, chanting, and a bull with the facial expression of someone who did not read the invitation carefully. Religion is woven into daily life here. Poseidon is not just a decoration. He is the sea god, the divine ancestor, the reason the royal family thinks it is special, and the reason everyone tries not to anger the ocean, which is awkward given the ending. But again, You do not know that. You are not standing there thinking, wow, I hope this island has a long-term flood plan. You are thinking, I need to get back before my supervisor invents a new reason to yell. On the walk back, you stop at a fountain area. Atlantis, being wealthy and water-obsessed, would probably have impressive public water systems. Not modern bathrooms, obviously. Nobody's enjoying plumbing that much. But fountains, channels, and ritual washing areas make sense in a city built around canals and status. A man nearby complains that nobody respects the old ways anymore. Too much luxury. Too many shiny ornaments. Back in his day, people were humble, which probably means they owned less expensive stuff. You nod because arguing with old men near water features is how you lose an afternoon. By late afternoon, the city changes mood. Workers head home. Market stalls lower their prices a little because old fish becomes less persuasive as the sun goes down. Sailors look for food, drink, and bad ideas. Children are still running around, somehow powered by a secret energy source. You stop at the market again and finally buy that terrible little Poseidon statue. The seller says it is handmade. You can tell. The eyes are at war with each other. You bring it home proudly, because bad art is still art if you paid for it. Dinner is simple. More bread, more fish, maybe lentils, onions, cheese, fruit, wine mixed with water. Ancient people often diluted wine because drinking it straight was seen as kind of barbaric. Which is funny because their medical advice might still include things like, put a herb on it, and hope. Your family talks about the day. Someone mentions a rumor that a royal official bought a huge amount of imported ivory. Someone else says the military is planning another campaign. Your neighbor says taxes are going up, and everyone believes that one immediately. As the sun lowers, Atlantis looks beautiful. Annoyingly beautiful. The canals reflect the light. Ships sit in the harbor. The temple shines at the center. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Voices echo through the streets. For a moment, it feels like this place could last forever. That is the trick. Every powerful city thinks it is permanent, while people inside it are mostly worried about lunch, rent, gossip, and whether the supervisor noticed they left early. Atlantis is famous because it does not last. It becomes a symbol of pride before collapse. A place that was rich, organized, and mighty, but still not immune to bad decisions, overconfidence, and whatever happens when the ground and sea decide to renegotiate. But from your point of view, tonight is just tonight. You walk outside after dinner. The air is cooler. People sit in your doorways. Someone plays music. Sailors laugh too loudly. A dog steals something from a basket and becomes a local hero. You look toward the center of the city. The temple glows in the last light, and for a second, you feel proud. Not because Atlantis is perfect. It is definitely not. It smells weird in places. The traffic is awful. Rich people are rich people. The bureaucracy has too many seals. But it is home. And that is what makes imagining a day here interesting. Not the giant disaster at the end. Not the Golden Temple. The normal stuff. Someone overslept. Someone burned breakfast. Someone got yelled at on a dock. Someone bought a badly made statue. Someone complained that the next generation was ruining everything. Atlantis might be legendary, but daily life would still be daily life. People would work, eat, argue, pray, flirt, avoid taxes badly, and pretend they understood politics. So your day ends quietly. You put the ugly Poseidon statue on a shelf. It immediately makes the room worse. You lie down. Outside, water moves through the canals. Somewhere, a guard yawns. Somewhere else, a merchant counts coins and lies to himself about how honest he is. The ocean sits beyond the harbor, dark and enormous, doing ocean things. You do not know Atlantis will become a warning story. You do not know people thousands of years later will argue about whether your city was real, symbolic, exaggerated, or just Plato making a philosophical point with extra architecture. You just know tomorrow you have to go back to work. And honestly, that might be the most realistic part of Atlantis. Even in a lost civilization with shining temples, circular canals, sea kings, sacred bulls, expensive metals, and a possible date with destruction, somebody still has to wake up early and move the crates. So you close your eyes. The city keeps humming. Atlantis has one more ordinary night. And for now, that is enough.